We live.
We live, baby. We back. Between the lines with Coach Stella. We back, baby, for our Week 8 recap show. I'm Coach Stella. I got my brother, Linnell Lewis,
What's that name?
CEO of Interviews TV. We back, baby, for our Week 8 recap. We're going to jump right into it. Let's talk about our Week 8 Buena Vista Cafe game of the week. We took that ride up to Holden, Glenville at Holden. Talk to me.
Man, first and foremost, like I always tell you, the atmosphere. It was nice, but I thought it would be a little bit more turn. I was looking for really Glenville to travel
Yeah.
a little bit more for a game of that with that much talent and everything that will be on the field.
Right.
But aside from that, the players and the organizations didn't disappoint at all. Hard hitting game. I mean, the physicality of that game, you've seen why between those two teams, but we counted like close to 30
Yeah, it's probably close to
D1
30 Division One
prospects
players out there.
within the next two seasons.
Probably
For sure.
50 total college players out there. Division
Right.
One, FCS, D2, D3. It was loaded. It was talented
Yeah.
all
And
over the
when
place.
they collided, you can hear the difference
Yeah.
between the weight class of competition.
It
That
was a heavyweight battle.
definitely. And so what did I see? I see Hoban is a well-oiled machine.
Yes.
That whole outfit over there, the way they approach, it was a business like approach.
Absolutely.
That stingy defense,
Mhm.
that business like offense with all them weapons. They came in, they did what they did. They controlled the game, and they executed. They didn't leave too many plays on the field.
Man.
I think they lost one fumble.
Lost one fumble.
And they maybe gave up a couple trick plays
Mhm.
that was able to give Glenville some big plays, cute halfback passes.
Yep.
That
Fake punt.
And another thing that clear, and I know you're going to touch on the details of the Glenville side, but it really hurt them not being able to flip the field like they needed to on times where they couldn't get the first down. But go ahead into what you seen from Glenville and Hoban, Coach.
So first, I'll start with Hoban since they won. They got the win 28-16. Like you said, they're a well-oiled machine. Very business-like. They're the deepest team in the state of Ohio. I mean, I think everybody know that for the most part. Let me take that back because I ain't seen a lot of teams in Southern Ohio, Cincinnati, Dayton area. But Northeast Ohio, for sure, they're the deepest football team. Start with the coaching staff. Big time head coach, great coaching staff. So, like you said, you can feel the professional type atmosphere they have. The kids is locked in. When it's game time, it's game time. Strength coach did a great job getting them lathered up, getting them pumped up. They was ready to go. As far as the game went, defense was stingy. You playing against that Glenville team, you only give up 16, you only give up 2 touchdowns in a 4-quarter game. That's big time, especially with the type of talent they got over there. Demarion Witten, DeJounte Jones, Bryce West. So you only give up 2 touchdowns to them, your defense can't do nothing but be happy. And offensively, they just loaded. Like I guarantee you every week it's a different 2-3 players that's making plays. This week it was, let's start with the freshman phenom, Brayton Feaster. He's already seemed like he's their goal line, their red zone back. They get inside the 10, they giving it to him. His first touchdown was on the wheel route. So he showed you he can go out the backfield, he can catch the ball with soft hands. The quarterback, Juice Boykin, he control everything. He the point guard, but different than most game manager type quarterbacks, they call him Juice for a reason. He ain't have to bring it out as much against Glenville. You could tell he just needed to distribute the ball, take care of the ball, let his playmakers do their thing. But like they're so deep, a kid like Peyton Cook, who had just got a Tennessee offer as a sophomore, I think he had one catch for like 15 yards.
Right.
And they won 28-16. So that just kind of lets you know how deep they is. As far as the other side, Glenville, the first thing that stood out was, like you said, I wish they would travel a little bit better. I wish they would have traveled a little bit better because they got a big time team on their hands coming off a state championship, getting ready to gear up for another state championship run. So that was a little disappointing. But as far as the Glenville as a whole, the football team, they got to tighten up like the pre-snap penalties, the punt situation. But the talent, oh my God.
Right.
DeJounte Jones, senior running back, grown man. Grown man. So all them Division 4 teams, man, I don't want to play Glenville. You look at a kid like Demarion Witten going to Ohio State to be a tight end, they play him as some quarterback. He could throw it a little bit. Like you said earlier, they kind of caught Glenville off guard with some trick plays. That wasn't necessarily a trick play, his touchdown, but you could tell it was something they ain't seen on film yet.
Right.
You could
He
tell it was
probably,
something they ain't
he
seen
pretty
on film.
much, once she got to the second level,
It was a wrap.
yeah, he did it. He did the rest on his own.
And you can see that talent. You can see why he a Division One player. All
Absolutely.
in all, big time football game, 28-16. Glenville had a chance at the end to get a touchdown and cut it to a 1 point, a one possession game at the end.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that ain't happened, but it was a great game. Big time atmosphere, talent all over the place. Like you said, you could hear the difference in the hitting. We done been to a lot of big time games. We like to think
Right.
every week our Buena Vista Cafe game of the week is a big time game,
Right.
but you could
Absolutely.
definitely feel the difference in the hits. You could definitely feel the
Absolutely.
difference in the speed. Shout out to Rock Hill, took a kickback, 92 yards. That boy fast. All in all, man, it was a
Yeah, he
big time
did.
talent on both sides. I expect both teams to go deep in the playoffs, man. Both teams to go deep in the playoffs. Before we stop, we got to talk about our Ellie House player of the game, baby.
Oh yeah. Oh
Hey,
yeah.
junior linebacker Eli Lee, 9 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, fresh off of Ohio State offer. Tell me what you seen from Eli the other night.
Man, he just really trusted his eyes, and he got downhill
Yep.
when it was his time to leverage the play, when it was time for him to leverage the play. And what I'm saying, he afforded his other guys on defense to absorb what they needed to absorb to give him the lanes to cause
Absolutely.
havoc. So him
Absolutely.
and Devin Bell,
Devin Bell
those
coming
other
off that
guys,
edge.
like that defense was playing
Yeah.
what we call lights out.
Yes.
They was playing lights out.
Yep.
Like it really took DeJounte, Willing,
Mm-hmm.
um, Miller, Willing those big plays that Glenville was able to get
Yes.
to just to stay in the
Stay in the
game,
game.
just to stay in the game because, like I said, a couple of those plays. Shout out to Jonte Jones. He was just
He a dog.
willing. He was
He
just
was trying to will his team to win.
willing
Yep.
them to a third and long
Yep.
conversion.
Yep.
So, um, what Eli Lee was doing was just causing havoc, leveraging the defense. So they was forced to deal with Devin Bell and the rest of those guys flying around the ball.
Absolutely. When you watch Eli play, you can kind of see why Ohio State offered him because he remind you of Tommy Eichenberg. Tommy played at St. Ignatius. He's a Northeast Ohio kid. They kind of remind me of each other in high school. Where you just walk up to them and you see them pregame, like they good look, they look good in their uniform, nice size. But it's a difference when that ball kicked off. It's a difference. You can see the intensity and the focus in their eyes, and you could tell they're gym rats. Meaning, I could tell they watch a lot of film. You could tell he almost know what's coming pre-snap. The only time they look like they know what's coming was when Marion Witten was at quarterback. And again, let you
Right.
know they probably didn't see that on film. But you could tell he computer like. I can
Well,
look at formation, splits, boundary, field. Okay, they're going here.
absolutely, coach, and you can tell where that his confidence comes from his preparation.
Absolutely.
And I noticed that I was rewatching your interview with him post game, and um, even though that they said that their goal is to get zero for the
Right.
other team to get zero, they had only given up a combined total of 24 points this entire season, um, going into that match
Yep.
against Glenville. So
Defense been playing lights out, like you said.
you could tell that his confidence comes from that preparation and
Yep.
that high standard that
Yep.
that defense set. So shout out to Eli.
Shout out to Eli, baby,
He
our
anchored
Ellie
the D,
House
and they did their
player of the
thing.
game, baby. And he did his thing, like you said. Another thing he did, he let them big boys in front of him work. He got a
Mhm.
great defensive line. So a lot of times he was able to come off scot free and make tackles. I probably only seen him miss maybe 1 or 2 tackles that night. A lot of people might say, how you going to D1 and he missed 2 tackles? That's because he playing against Glenville. He playing against other dogs. Iron sharpen iron.
Mhm.
Sometimes they're gonna get you, sometimes you're gonna get them. But it felt like every time it was a tackle, the announcer was saying Eli Lee.
Yeah,
That's
it
just what it
felt
felt
like
like.
that.
And
Yep.
if he didn't say Eli Lee, he said Devin Bell. Shout out to Devin Bell, played a big time game too. So one more time, shout out to Eli Lee, our Ellie House player of the game. You did your thing, Eli. Last week, let's talk about the Harding Mooney game. Harding did a good job. They got down early, down 21-9. Chaz Coleman, you talking about DeJounte Jones, willed his team. Chaz
Mhm.
Coleman went in, threw his cape on, willed his team, made plays with his arm and his feet. Tell me some things you seen when you went back and you read about that Harding Mooney game.
I'm really watching Chaz come into his own.
Okay.
Like it's one thing, you know, to start out the season pitching for the team and
Right.
feeling your way through as we go on to week 8 and week 9. But saying being in and out the lineup and getting the feel of how his game is gonna go into
Yep.
the offensive coordinator scheme. What I'm starting to see Chaz do now is start to dictate, start to
Hmm.
read and be more
Play
decisive,
towards his instincts more.
more to
Let his
he's
instincts
thinking
just take
less. He's
over.
he's
Yep.
he's he's thinking more about making plays and less about making mistakes.
Yep.
So that's what I'm starting to see with Chaz, with
Yep.
the surety of him going. He gonna be there. He's dissecting the play
Yep.
and he's allowing himself to trust his legs, trust his arm, and he's spinning that thing
He's
too.
spinning.
He's spinning
He's
that
spinning
thing
it.
too. And yeah, so that's what I noticed when I was watching him.
Right.
Like when they started to come back, he was locked in. He was
Yep.
really locked in, and he was
Yep.
making the plays and making the reads and making the decisions that got that team
And it,
turned up
it
and
makes
getting
sense to
behind
what
him.
you said earlier in the game. He's playing a little tighter. Normally, he's trying to find that fine line. Normally, your first year as a quarterback, you're trying to find that fine line of doing what my coach is coaching me to do, and then let my instincts take over. And it's funny you said that. Me and Chaz had just a quick conversation. It wasn't even long, and I kind of just told him like, just go play
Mhm.
Monday through Thursday, so Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Get all the data and information you can get from your coaches. You take that all in. But when you go out there on game night, you still got to somewhat play to your instincts. You got to let your instincts go. And you can see they got down 21-9. It was like, okay, let me just go play. And once he just went in, just went and played, like you said, you can see his confidence every week, every game, every quarter
Mhm.
growing, getting bigger and bigger. So if Chaz just keep taking the coaching, keep getting better each rep, every quarter, every half, keep playing. I mean, the talent is undeniable, man. He can spin that ball, he can make plays on the run. So Chaz needs to keep doing what he's doing. Shout out to Najee Jones.
Mhm.
It ain't a coincidence. Once Chaz got in there, Najee been picking up his play. Najee, he been making plays over the last couple of years. If you go watch Harding, Najee making a lot of plays, especially from his receiver spot. Now Chaz at quarterback, you got Kamari Adams catching them hitches, catching them curls, kind of catching them bigger body receiver type routes. And now you got Najee that's making those bigger plays, taking the hitch to the house, deep posts, deep fades, deep go balls. So now Chaz kind of got him two boys he could throw to. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I kind of got my chain mover in Kamari. I could throw him a slant, throw him a hitch, throw him a comeback, throw him a curl, throw him a dig. Bigger body routes to where he could box out and play basketball because he's a basketball kid.
Mhm.
And now I got Najee where I can just get the ball in your hands and you can make me look good. In the paper, it say 75-yard touchdown, only threw a 5-yard hitch route. You know what I mean? That's a quarterback's favorite.
Right.
So you can see them starting to get that rhythm. Defense did a good job. They gave up 21 early. They bowed their neck. Coaches, shout out to the DC and the coaching staff. They made some adjustments.
Mhm.
Defense held them down. So Mooney ain't playing the best, but that was a big time game Hardy needed just for the momentum sake. They had 1, 2 in a row, and you wanted to make it 3 in a row. So
Right.
now they back to 500, 4-4, getting ready for our next segment. We're gonna talk about getting ready for our Buena Vista game of the week. So shout out to Harding, shout out to Chaz, the coaching staff doing a good job. Keep making adjustments. You can see them getting
Mhm.
better as the year is going on. So shout out to the Raiders.
Shout out to the Raiders, and that's a perfect segue into this week's Buena Vista game of the
Our
week.
Buena Vista Cafe game of the week. Warren G. Harding Raiders travel on the road to take on the Maslin Tigers. To people from Northeast Ohio, Warren, Maslin, Akron, Canton, it ain't really much else that need to be said. The records don't really matter. Both towns don't like each other. Both football programs don't like each other. The adults, of course, as we get older, we know how to be cordial. We don't know how to cross the line. But I don't like Maslin. Maslin don't like us. That's how I go. But I can't wait to be in the house to enjoy the atmosphere. Maslin is playing big time football right now.
Mhm.
They playing some of
Mhm.
the best football in the state of Ohio. Like I said, Maslin is our rivals, but I ain't a hater. They doing their thing. Coach Moore doing a good job. You got DeJuan Owens leading the offense. Jalen Slaughter coming in, checking in for him. Lefty slinging it around. Um, Defense tenacious. We talked about Dorian Pringle a couple weeks ago. So it's gonna be a big time game, and we just talked about the Raiders and them coming off them 3 wins. So tell me some things you looking forward to and you excited about going up here to Maslin tomorrow night, baby. What you looking forward to?
First of all, you got some experience playing Maslin, right?
I got experience playing Maslin and coaching against Maslin.
Okay, so what you think? What you think as an ex player?
Okay.
Take your
From a
journalist
player's
coach
perspective,
hat off.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? What you feel about the football communities in a whole and what this rivalry mean to Northeast Ohio? Let's talk about
It mean
that.
a lot. It mean a lot. And if I'm being honest, it don't mean enough to the younger generation. And that ain't like to say like you hate them, like you want to do violent things or criminal things to them. That's not what it is. It's just that you want to really, really beat them really, really bad. You want to have them bragging rights for a year. So if I'm being honest, from a Warren's perspective, from our community's perspective, I wish the young generation would know how important this game is. You know what I mean? It's going to be people that played in the 50s and the 60s, graduated in 72, 81, 89, 94, 2000. Whether they live in Warren or not, they getting up Saturday morning checking that score. I'm talking, I'm showing my age. I'm sorry. They gonna be on their phone Friday night checking that score, checking the updates, trying to see what's going on. So from a football's perspective, it's one of the best rivalries in the state of Ohio. You know what I mean? From Maslin side, again, putting my player hat on, there's no team you enjoy beating more. You know what I mean? And again, it ain't because you despise them so much. It's really because you respect them that much. It's Maslin.
Absolutely.
It's one of the
I
better
was gonna
programs in
say,
the United States of America. You know what I
it's
mean?
it's an honor to have a
Absolutely.
strong enemy, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Like, no disrespect to nobody. We don't want your rival to be Chalker.
right, right,
You know what I mean?
right.
You know what I mean? You don't want your rival to be,
That's pretty.
you know what I mean?
That's pretty disrespectful.
No,
As soon
I'm
as you
just
said, as
saying.
soon as you said no
No.
disrespect,
But it's the
we knew
truth.
what was coming.
It's the truth.
No, I know what you're
You know what
saying
I mean? It's
though.
the truth.
But
So,
yeah, so it's two great football communities, two communities that we always talk about
hmm,
that preserve the game, that preserve the essence of Friday Night Lights.
absolutely.
So I'm
And if, it's one of them programs, you look at each other. So like
absolutely,
now, Maslin is,
absolutely,
like we said, they playing some of the best football in the state of Ohio. They on the verge of trying to get their state's first state championship. Like, and we trying to get back to that. You know what I mean? So as much respect you have them, you got to keep an eye over there to see what they're doing. Can't do nothing but respect the good things Coach Moore and the athletic program doing. So as much as you don't want to, you know what I mean, admit it, you pick, you prod, you see what they're doing, and you pick. Same thing when we were over there a couple years ago when I was coaching. We had Lynn Bolden and Marlon and Z and Thad, all them boys, and went up there and had a good game. I'm pretty sure they didn't like that we came in there and beat them, but they can't do nothing but respect it. But I'm sure they also, okay, we'll see y'all soon. We'll be right back there. And let's look up now. Coach Moore got that thing rolling. So,
well, I'm looking forward to, like we just mentioned, Chaz Coleman, the Raiders coming in. They just won 3 straight.
yep,
Not the strongest opponents,
yep,
just be honest, but it doesn't matter if once a group start believing each other, they start to see what they do good, understanding who they are,
hmm,
realizing who they're not. Um, each team can only play 11 at a time,
yep,
so as much as everybody anticipates a one-sided affair,
right,
being around both the
right,
programs, I could assure you that Massa is not. They may be overlooking the Canton McKinley a little bit just through nature,
hmm,
just the nature of being, the youth.
right,
And but I don't think Coach Moore is allowing
absolutely,
what he know from
absolutely,
the type of community that's going to be busting up
absolutely.
to
Because that's
support their
that's a great
team.
point. Because that's
Right,
how I go. As kids, they're just looking at the schedules and how each team is playing this year. So as kids, I'll guarantee you some of those Madison players are looking forward to next week because they got another big time rival they got to play in Canton
right,
McKinley. But the thing that keep you focused is number one, a good staff. I know Coach Moore keeping them kids locked in.
right,
But
right,
then the good thing about this type of rivalry is you can go to the mom and pop diners. You can go to the gas station. It's gonna be some people reminding you there too. Hey man, we play Warren Harding this week. We don't lose to Warren Harding. Same thing. People in Warren gonna be telling, hey, we play Maslin this week. We don't lose to Maslin. So kids, they gonna look forward. Like you said, it's just a youth in them. That's just naturally what they do.
right,
But a great
right.
staff and a good community, I'm sure, from both sides of the community, two great football communities, two great football programs, two great traditions. I know they're doing a good job keeping them boys locked in for this game. So
And I had an opportunity to talk to Chaz this afternoon, and Coach Arnold as well. But I talked to Chaz specifically about his opportunity to go into Maslin, coming from that lineage of
right.
Coleman
It's a
quarterbacks
great
for
question.
Warren G. Harding,
It's a great
right?
question.
And I spoke to him about that, and he articulated to me that, what I'm saying, he accepts that responsibility. He understands
Right.
and he understands that it wasn't just having um, uncles that played for Harding, but
Right.
actually was the signal caller, the
Right.
QB1,
Right.
that play in these type of games. So I talked to Chaz, and he's excited about having the opportunity
Yes.
to for his time to
Yep.
be a quarterback, a Coleman quarterback at Warren G.
With
Harding
his chance to play against Mansland.
in on the biggest
Yep.
stage. He excited, and he accepts the
That
responsibility to keep
rivalry
it
run
going
deep.
on. Right.
That
So it's
rivalry run deep.
right. So I'm excited to see some of those underlying
Right.
storylines that play out outside of the natural
See how it
predictors of
unfold.
things.
Yep.
Right. So but on the football side, the X and O side of things, man, the trenches might look a little lopsided. Harding's gonna have to find a way to make it an athlete on athlete game.
Right.
Right, they're gonna have to find a way to neutralize the areas that
Yes.
that they have that they naturally going to compromise
Right.
via size and experience, um, and try to keep the game on your
Exactly.
athletes, and see
Try
if
to keep it in
Najee
space as
can
much
win
as we
some of them
can.
one on
Yep.
ones. Some Aries got to Aries Coleman gonna have to Aries Bay gonna have to win some of them one on ones.
Mm-hmm.
Chad's gonna have to be elusive. He's gonna have to be thinking on his feet. I'm
Right.
sure Coach Moore gonna throw a lot at this young quarterback.
Yes. Yes.
That Massillon crowd is gonna come in there, so
All of that.
they're gonna give him a full plate.
All of that. That's
So
a great point, like you said, L. All of that. Because you come to the sideline, them fans gonna be yelling stuff at you.
mhm,
Also, Coach Moore gonna show you a lot. But then also, if you playing against Warren G. Harding, Chaz is the first person you circling on the scouting report. Also, so not
also
only is he a young quarterback still, as far as experience, but he's the number one guy to circle on the scouting report.
right.
So he gonna see some different looks. He gonna get some different pushes after they tackle him. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? He gonna get some different chatter, and all in the fun of the game. It's gonna be a beautiful thing. So, hey man, I can't wait. Tomorrow
I
night,
can't
baby, we're
wait,
gonna be in the
man. I
house.
can't wait.
Hey, and that translate right next to our Stella spotlight. We're gonna talk about Warren G. Harding senior receiver Najee Jones, and we're gonna talk about Maslin Jr. running back Jameer Gamble. Last week, Jameer went for over 200. I know you got to see Maslin earlier. He ain't have a real big game then. I know you can see the talent. Talk about Jameer Gamble, the starting tailback at Maslin a little bit, number 21. He come in, and him and Dorian Pringle kind of both are the starters, but as the season go on, you can see Jameer getting more and more carries.
Right, and when you seeing what everybody, the one Owens, the way he runs the ball, the fire that he
Right,
plays with, and how many carries that he took, so many at the beginning of the season. But remember, they went 2 weeks playing without him,
right,
so they knew they had gold saying
right.
elsewhere.
Yep,
So now what you're starting to see with Gamble is the emergence of
yep.
the double
Two-headed
the
monster
two
back
headed
there.
monster, right? So Harden's gonna have to deal with, is he pulling it or is he
Right.
keeping it? Either
Yes.
way, pick your poison,
Yep.
because both of them boys plan on running through you. So
Absolutely.
that's going to be interesting to see how if Gamble getting the majority of the carries,
Mhm.
because I don't think DeJuan Owens ever seen a read run that he
Read
didn't
option that
like.
he don't
I
think he
don't
can
think
make routes
right,
on. Right.
right. You know what I'm saying? He gonna bet on himself every time.
Absolutely.
So Hardy gonna have to, they're gonna have to lock in. They Coach Moore, excuse me, likes to do a lot of control. He likes to control the game.
Yep.
So they don't mind running all over you.
They like to play a slower tempo.
On the other side, like we said, giving up so much in the trenches, Hardy gonna have to find a way. They're athletes, Najee Jones
Yes.
particularly. He gonna have to be able to take the top off the defense to
Yes.
keep them honest.
Yes.
Chaz is gonna be able to extend plays with his legs because he's
Mm-hmm.
an athlete. He's
Right.
gonna be able to do that. But while he's extending plays, Najee Jones, it's imperative for him to do what he's been doing these last few weeks
Mm-hmm.
and be that deep ball threat
Yep.
that opens up the field
Yep.
for those guys to
Yep.
get underneath and
Yep.
become a threat, or open on running lanes for his quarterback.
And to add on the point, because that's a great point you just made, L. They also need him to be that big play threat because Harding gonna have to be balanced this week.
Mhm.
You're not gonna be able to go into Maslin and just say, hey, Chaz, let's call 30, 35 drop back passes. That ain't gonna be fair to Chaz. And it's just gonna be too hard to win because their front is too good. So if you tell their front we just gonna pass, they just gonna pass rush.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So to back up your point, we need Najee to make them big time plays, catch them hitches, turn them into 20,
Mhm.
get past, get back behind the defense with posts, go routes. deep over routes, all that type of go balls and deep balls that Najee is pretty good at. We need him to be able to do that so we can stretch that defense out
Hmm.
vertically and horizontally, so we could try to get this run game going. Because Harden got
Absolutely.
bodies, they could run. They could run the ball. You know what I mean? But they gonna have to be balanced.
Hmm.
Either way, you ain't going in the mass and beating them one dimensional.
You
Whether
can't
you
do
thinking
it.
you just gonna run
No.
it or whether you thinking you just gonna pass it, it's not gonna happen either way. You know what I mean? And then also, I think you made a great point talking about Jameer. Those 2 weeks they didn't have Dewan.
Hmm.
You can see they said, okay, Coach Moore, what a great coach does, said, okay, we're gonna take advantage of this.
Right.
In our hearts and our minds, we know Dewan coming back. Let's take these 2 weeks. Let's start getting Jameer going. Because
Hmm.
like you said, they playing for the long haul. Madison trying to get a state
Absolutely.
championship.
Absolutely.
So we got 2 weeks of hits off his body. Okay, but now that's gonna take care of itself. Okay, now let's get him a running mate. Let's get him somebody else where he can run it 20 times. He got a tailback can run it 20 times. Good luck. And then,
Hmm.
like you said, if they run a read option, any type of read, Dave read option, RPO, it ain't gonna be a read that Dewan Owens ain't never seen where he don't think he can go make a play.
Right.
But the good thing is he got to go sit from the sideline and watch. So when
Right.
you
They
go sit
found
from the
gold.
sideline and
Yeah.
watch, like even though you're young, ballers know ballers.
Hmm.
So, I know Dewan is a very confident kid, but he's sitting over there on the sideline going, okay, I see you, Jameer. Okay, I see you, Jameer. I see what you're doing. So now he got to sit for them 2 weeks, and now he come back. He ain't gonna never lose confidence in himself, but what he did is pick up confidence in his running mate.
Absolutely, and that was one of the key reasons that he transferred to Massillon. He expressed that to us a few weeks ago prior to the St. Edwards game. That was one of the reasons he made that switch. That his family wanted to make that switch to a program like Massillon, to where he had the talent
Mhm.
around him
Yep,
to be able to make this deep run
yep,
and bring out, accentuate the talent that he has.
absolutely. Because you want to be able to play with good teammates around you. So, like you said, to make me look better and to go further, that's a lot of hits on your body too. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like it's good. Like because we competitive, we gamers, and that's what they love to do. So they don't mind it. But it don't feel good when we ain't kind of reaching our goals and winning like we supposed to, and I'm taking these hits. So
Hmm.
shout out to Dewan Owens, shout out to Najee Jones, shout out to Jameer Gamble. Moving to our next topic, baby. Our Between
Mm.
the Lines with Coach Stella Player of the Week. Hell, I don't know if you've seen this stat line. This is West Branch senior quarterback Bo Elezaus. Sorry if we mispronounced your last name. Bo did his thing. He threw for 419 yards
Bo,
and 4 touchdowns.
Bo.
Also broke a school record with a 94-yard touchdown pass to Jeremiah Thomas. Shout out to Bo. Bo is also a big time baseball player. They won 49-41. So that's the first stipulation. You can't get player of the week if your team don't win.
Uh,
So first of all, not only did they win 49-41, he outdueled Brendan Zerberg, who we talked about a couple weeks
right,
ago, was my
right.
player of the week, who's going to Oklahoma. Shout out to Brendan, the Oklahoma commit, big time football player. But Bo kind of outdueled him, and he got the win. You know what I mean? So couldn't do nothing but give him that. And then it's a team game. It's never one guy is the reason why you win. But when your quarterback throw for
Yeah,
419 and
four
four
nineteen and
touchdowns,
four.
he responsible for most of it.
419 and 4. He get, come on, man.
And I'm sure Bo would tell you he give credit to his line and his receivers for making plays. So shout out to the offensive line for giving him time. Shout out to his
Right.
receivers. He had 2 receivers with over 100 yards. So they did a good job getting open, making plays, catching the ball. But the trigger man did his thing. Again,
Absolutely, because
419
you
yards, four
know,
touchdowns. Hell, he did
yeah,
his thing.
because he can't look good without everybody else looking good involved. Meaning, everybody get that notch on their belt.
Yep.
The offensive line get to
Yeah,
hold
they
their
get the
chest
flex.
out. Yeah,
Exactly.
you know.
Yep. Yep. So again, shout out to Bo Elezaw. Sorry again if we messed up your last name. It's no disrespect at all. Great job. Keep doing your thing. Good luck to you in your future, whether it's football or baseball. Going to our next segment, baby, the overtime segment. You
OT.
ready, baby?
Let's get it.
OT,
Let's
you
get
up
it.
first, baby.
Let's
What you
get it.
got? What you got today?
Oh man, my overtime segment is for you, Coach.
Okay.
We going into this week, right?
Going in
These
week
teams,
9.
like
Yep.
we talked about it last week in the last week's podcast. You can know these teams know who they are
They know
right
their
now.
identity now. Yep.
Um, Echoing earlier, we talked about how important is it at this point of the season for teams to be playing well.
It's the most important thing you got. Any sport. We can talk about any sport. when you're getting ready to go into the tournament, the playoffs, whatever it's called that you're going into that
Mhm.
needs you to advance to win the state championship or NBA title, March Madness, anything, you want to be playing your best ball going into the playoffs.
Okay, now on the other side of that coin,
Okay.
if you one of them teams on the bubble, coach,
Yep.
if you one of them teams on the cup bubble where you're not playing your best ball
Yep.
and it's looking bleak, how are you? Not to say because this ain't the pros where you so
Right.
much as tanking, but how do you galvanize the troops with still 3 weeks football left
Right.
to keep your program running with some type of dignity and esteem if
Or,
you're not one of those teams that's
right.
performing
Or
up to
at
par?
this week at this rate, 2 weeks left now. So like if you one of them bubble teams and you not playing your best and you still got a chance to go into the playoffs, that's where you really as a coach just want to sit down and talk to your kids. That's where you hope you got a good relationship, that equity of building relationships comes back. Because you can sit down with your team and say, hey man, I know we're not playing good right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want your players don't ever want their coach to lie to them. You know what I
Right,
mean? Coach, don't
right.
get up here and say we playing great, we got a chance and we not playing great.
Mm-hmm.
But what a coach can say if you got that relationship built, I know we're not playing good right now. But evidently, if we're not playing good right now, that means we were playing good at some point.
Right.
Let's get back to doing those things that had us playing well at some point. Not just the players, the coaches too. Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times it starts with the coaches. I done been in those meeting rooms on Saturdays and Sundays where it starts with the coaches. You want to hold yourself accountable first.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to do some self scouting. All right, let's see what we did earlier in the year that had us winning some games. And now if we're struggling now, hitting some hiccups going into the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
let's kind of cancel some of them things out. First and foremost, let's kind of just have a talk and reset our mindset, kind of reset our energy, you know what I mean, and know that we're
Mm-hmm.
going to be okay. Now, if we rocky and we don't get a chance of going into the playoffs, it just come back to kind of your morals and your upbringing. You want to finish everything the right way.
Right.
You want to finish everything the right way. Yeah, we know the season ain't going how we wanted it to. For the coaches, for the players, the administrative, the community. But it's not by nobody not trying. Everybody here trying.
Mm-hmm.
We all trying our best. So let's finish strong. You know what I mean? Let's
Okay.
finish strong. And it
Y'all
kind
do
of it's
y'all do
easy.
have some y'all have some say so about the
You
effort.
got some say so about your effort. And then it kind
Right.
of come down to two things, L. If it's a team that ain't going to playoffs, let's three things. I'm sorry. Let's finish this thing right.
Mhm.
Second, our seniors, no matter what, deserve to go out right.
Right.
So let's send them out the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And number three, if you're an underclassman, let's build some momentum right now and springboard that thing into our off season. And remember that nasty taste, but also remember that good taste we got from two wins at the end of the season, or a
Right.
big win in week 10 against a team nobody was expecting us to beat. Let's
Right.
springboard that into the off season
Get some of them young
and
guys
get some of them young
experience.
guys
Yeah.
experience,
Yeah.
confidence, and believe going into the next season.
So all you coaches down there where the season didn't work out like you
Yeah.
thought it was, find some gold down that
Yep.
roster,
Yep.
and get them seniors together, get them young
Absolutely.
guys some playing time. So I
Yep.
got you, coach.
Yep. Yep. And then, so my question for you, I'm gonna answer it
Hmm.
after you. My question for you, out of all the games we've been to up close, seeing teams up close, what underclassman, what freshman, sophomore, or junior has been the most impressive to you so far? Give me one, give me two, give me three, whoever, whatever jump in your brain.
Akron Hoban's Feaster,
Braden Feaster. Shout out
Braden
Braden
Feaster.
Feaster, freshman phenom.
And I would say that because as a freshman, the and I understand genetic,
Right,
so he come from a family of athletes and
right.
whatnot, but the physicality of that game that we seen
Still different.
this week, that was a different level of
Yeah.
physicality, and for a young man, um, to play at that level with them at that level
Yep.
with them boys was throwing their body in there, and there wasn't no, I'm sorry, them young men, whatever, but they wasn't small, and
Right,
they were coming downhill
right.
with
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 bad
intention,
intentions.
right, and also,
Excuse me.
help me out, the running back for Austin Town Fitch, the freshman.
DeAndre, Day Day.
Pound for pound, as a freshman, I seen him deliver some punishment as a
Yeah.
young man, and those two underclassmen, by far impressed me the most.
Gotcha, gotcha. I'm gonna say one because you kind of hit on a couple that we seen. To me, the number one underclassman I've seen is Devontae Taylor for a sophomore.
Mm.
Maybe because I've coached receivers for 12, 13 years. I train receivers, play a receiver, kind of look at the game through an outside in lens. Devontae got a chance to be special. He does some things that that you can't just coach. Number one, his ball skills. Man, as a receiver coach, man, you could do 1,000 drills, different type of balls, drills, different type of situations. Some people just blessed with it. Some people just got it.
I got you snuck that in on me
Some people just
because
got it.
you know he had a break in action.
Some
You
people
know I
just got
forgot
it.
about him,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Devontae, yeah, he as the way he playing. Not to cut you off,
No,
but
bro, you
you
good.
know you got that
Yeah.
one. That was cool. That was cool. That was cool.
And
That was cool.
and
But
again,
yeah,
I think
cuz I
maybe
see you,
and I think it's maybe because again I'm a receiver coach, L. So of
man.
course,
He making big plays.
and it's the plays how he making the plays. One hand catches,
And
going up over top of boys in the end zone as a sophomore.
you know what's more impressive? As a sophomore, we caught him that first week on Thursday against Steubenville. In that first drive, he missed a wide open ball.
He did.
He missed a, and so if you think about that, we seen that
Mhm.
live, right? So if you think about the fact that you come in as a sophomore to a team
New
that's
school,
loaded
new school.
and new school,
Yep,
and the coach call your number
yep,
early in the first quarter,
yep.
and
That's heavy. Mentally, that's heavy, and you drop it.
you drop it. He
Yep,
did,
yep. But
and he came right back and got two the first half
yep,
or early in the
yep.
game. So
The thing that make it good to make this marriage perfect is the coaching.
no, I was about to say the coach went right back
Because
to
what did the
him.
coach do?
He went
Went
right
right
back
back
to
to
him,
him.
and he showed up.
Yep,
So um the fortitude to because
yep,
I remember that specifically.
yep. Comeback route.
He missed it,
Mhm.
and we was on the sideline, and I heard you said, "Well, you got to catch that,"
Yeah.
and but he didn't hold his head, and he came back and performed, and he's been putting on the show and anchoring
And
up top for
it's
the
like ever since
Irish
that
ever
one
since.
drop,
That's what I'm saying.
it's been on.
He did he
It's been
fixed it.
on.
He fixed it immediately. So him being a sophomore, and that brings, you know what I'm saying, more kudos to him and
Mhm.
his preparation and the people he have around him,
Yep,
because shout out Jacinta, Tyler, I see
yep,
you.
yep,
You know what I'm saying?
yep.
But it's a testament to them because he really he took it upon himself, the people he's around to, and they instilled that mental fortitude in
Yep.
him. And he dropped that pass and he came right back and he been on the rip
Man,
ever
he been
since.
killing. I want to say we're going into week 9, so I think this will be the 7th game he plays. I want to say he probably got 6 or 7 touchdowns. His ball skills is pretty good. Um, he's diverse in his routes. A lot of his touchdowns are off fade balls, but if you watch him throughout the game, he's running hitches, comebacks, slants. They giving him stack releases, dual releases, letting him get up the hash. So he's doing a good job. The one thing I like about him though, physically, is his ball skills. That's the number one thing I love about
He's
his
high
game right
pointing
now.
that thing.
His ball skills is just it's not only, and when I say ball skills, the young receivers out there, I'm not just talking about catching the ball. Of course, we mean catching the ball. But great ball skills is knowing how I need to catch it, the timing of catching it. I've coached a lot of receivers, and when they should high point it, they're trying to catch it over the shoulder. When they should catch it over the shoulder, they're high pointing it. So when I say ball skills to the young receivers out there, I ain't just talking catching it. Of course, we want you to catch the ball, but knowing how to catch it, when to catch it, what point to catch it, what window to catch it in, he's blessed with that. Number one thing I like about his mental makeup is he stays flatline. I've coached receivers for a long time. Some of my favorite players were receivers. Receivers are up and down.
Mhm.
Mentally, they're up and down. When they making plays, they locked in. They talking.
Right.
They feeling themselves. When they don't get the ball, the team ain't doing good. It ain't always that. It ain't always that. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? One thing about Devontae is he stays flatline. He stays right here. You don't get a lot of receivers like that. If you get receivers that's talented and you give them a flatline mentality, they got a chance to be special.
Right,
They got
right.
a chance to be special because he ain't riding the highs and lows. And you can tell him being around Ursula and his teammates trying to poke him and prod him a little bit to
Yeah,
have a little
yeah.
more swag. And he's showing it a little bit, but he also kind of staying true to who he is.
Hmm.
So again, my most impressive underclassmen I've seen so far is Devontae Taylor, sophomore receiver from Ursula. Next, baby, we going to our Ask Coach Stella segment. L, baby, you got the questions, baby. Talk to me, man. What questions
All
we got
right,
this
we
week,
got a
man?
couple of questions coming from our guy
Okay.
at Phillips Care Training, man. Mike Phillips, man. He got something
Shout out
for
to
you.
my brother.
Shout
Okay.
out to you, Mike,
What Mike talking
and the
about?
5 a.m. club. Uh, who has been the most dominating defensive lineman this year and most impressive defensive unit?
The most dominating defensive lineman and most impressive defensive unit. most dominated defensive lineman, to me, is not close that I've seen up close and personal was Devin Bell at Hoban, senior at Hoban, Miami of Ohio commit. We gave the player, the Ellie House player, the game to Eli Lee, but it like,
Right.
I mean, we'd have gave it to Devin Bell, nobody would have said nothing. You know what I
He
mean?
pretty much gave it to Devin Bell.
Exactly.
If you
You know
really
what I
think
mean?
about it,
Which lets
like
you know about their camaraderie as a
right,
team and how they rocking with each other. But Devin Bell, man, he come off that edge. He flying off that edge. He played with reckless abandon. He played with his hair on fire, all the cliches. He played like that. But also the thing I like about him is he a focused kid. You can tell he a focused kid. You can tell he want to be better. You can tell he hungry. So the best defensive lineman I've seen so far up close, I gotta give it to Devin Bell.
Miami of Ohio commit,
Miami of Ohio commit. Shout out to Devin Bell. Miami of Ohio commit.
homecoming king.
Homecoming king.
He
You know
got
what I
the
mean?
mods, bro.
He got the mods. Just to have an honorable mention, just because I wasn't there in the house, it was the game you did, Maslin versus St. Ed's. But I went back and watched some of the film. That Mike Wright Jr. is a mug.
4-5.
05 is a mug,
4-5.
man.
4-5.
So if I had to say, just to have an honorable mention, just to give another kid some shout out, another kid some love, I would say Mike Wright out there at Maslin. As far as the best defense as a whole, I'm gonna just to give a couple. I'm gonna give you three teams just to give a lot of couple teams some love. Of course, we Hoban. We done talked about Hoban's defense a lot today, led by Eli Lee, Devin Bell, Rock Hill, Tyson Campbell at safety. They legit. Two other defense I give love to. Number one, South Range. I haven't
Okay.
seen them up close, but watching highlights, watching film, checking out their scores, reading up on them, their defense been playing lights out. Now they got Coach Rock as the head coach, who's the old defensive coordinator. So he's a defensive minded head coach. You can tell he's bringing that. They're playing good defense. They're running around. They're hitting. So they're doing a good job. And the other team, I would say, they don't get a lot of credit because their offense is so potent. Is Ursuline.
Absolutely.
Is Ursuline.
Dunlow.
You see them up close. Tyreek Dunlow. Shout out Tyreek Dunlow. Shout out John Fragos. Shout out one player that I like in the area. A lot of people don't know about, Luke Kohler. He's a safety. Luke is a pretty good football player. But that defense don't get a lot of credit because their offense so dynamic. You know what I mean? Their offense
Right.
put up points. Coach Reardon, Coach DeSantis, they're known as offensive guys, so their offense kind of get all the top billing, all the
Right.
hype.
But if you get an opportunity to watch them, you see they making plays in all three
They making
levels.
plays
They
on all
making
three
on
levels. You
plays
know
on
what I
all three
mean?
levels. So
They got defensive linemen getting to the quarterback, getting tackles for
mhm.
losses. Tyreek Dunlow running everything down sideline to sideline, and he coming off the edge. John Fragos, he quarterbacking the defense. He's stopping everything. DC Farrell at a corner. You know what I mean? Tyron Davis at one corner, locking up, getting pick sixes. You know what I mean? Luke Kohler at safety. So they defense don't get a lot of credit, but when seeing them up close against Fitch, who's a good football team with a good quarterback and a good offense, that kind of let me know, okay, this defense is serious. And that kind of let me know, okay, Ursuline got a real shot to go do some things this year. So
Absolutely, because
I would
that
say
Fitch brought
those
some
three
athletes, and
defenses.
that defense played on the string. They
Yep.
didn't let them
Yep.
athletes really get loose too
Yeah.
much at all.
Yeah, and if I remember right, a lot of the Fitch's touchdowns, one was off a trick play on the kick return, and the other touchdown was off a turnover, short field. So it wasn't
Absolutely.
one time that they got the ball and drove that thing down and got points. So I
Mhm.
would say that to answer Mike's question. Shout out Mike. Good looking, brother. Anybody else?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. This next question comes from Carl Diggs.
Oh, love your community. This like love your community, baby. Shout out to my brothers. What Carl
Yeah,
talking about?
yeah. He said, how do you develop a positive relationship with your parents as a coach?"
How do you develop a positive relationship with your parents as a coach? That's always a slippery slope. Um, because you want to have a great relationship with your parents, of course, because you're around their kids, but you don't want to be around them too much where it starts to cloud your judgment. I would say I would change it and say you want to build trust. You want to build trust between yourself as a coaching staff, and the parents. Meaning, from a parent's perspective, I'm a parent who got a child. You want to trust that when your child goes to practice or to games, number one, he's getting treated right as a human being first. Whether he's a good football player or whether he's not one of the best football players on the team, that don't matter. Learn the kid's name, learn what the kid like to do, dig into the kid, learn about the kid. So I would say, first of all, build. That's one way how to build the trust. Secondly, is be open and honest. You ain't gonna treat everybody the same. You know what I mean? But you got to be fair. So a
Right.
lot of times, as a parent, also that's all you want. So a lot of time, the like having a great relationship is a slippery slope because it could cloud your judgment as a coach as far as who I'm playing, how I'm playing, who getting the ball, how they getting the ball, all them type of things. Because we're
Mhm.
human, you know what I mean. So it's such a slippery slope, but you just want to build that trust. You know what
Right.
I mean. So when their child goes home, they can say, even if it's Coach Stella got on me today. He was riding me for 2 hours, but once we stopped, we was laughing, we was joking. He asked me if I needed a ride home. He asked me if I did my homework. I think those
Mhm.
type of things are more so the things that can build trust more than the other stuff. Like, I mean, the football stuff. I mean, as a parent, everybody want their kid to make plays and be really good, but that's not realistic. You know what I mean? That's not
Mhm.
realistic. So you really just want to be able to trust that your son or your daughter is going into an environment that's healthy as far as them as a person. They can be themselves, open and honest, and through and get loved on. And that, yeah, even if they're getting coached hard, they're getting coached fair. So I would say
Mhm.
those things to answer the question.
Yeah, and to echo that, I can speak to that. You know, what I'm saying even having a parent
Right.
as kids who play sports and is playing sports right now. I can tell you that one of the things is the parents and the coaches understanding that what the mission is, like what's
Right.
the overall goal. We understand
Absolutely.
about the wins and losses and
Absolutely.
everything, but truth of the matter is this experience is a tool to learn a lot about how the world works,
Yep.
teamwork, hard work,
Life.
sacrifice,
Yourself.
learn about yourself, intestinal fortitude.
Yep.
You know, it's a multitude of tools that that this experience of sports kind of that get these kids to take on with them for
Absolutely.
life. So we
Absolutely.
understand about the competitiveness and the wins and losses, but at the end of the day, you understand it's a multitude of tools with this experience that the
Absolutely.
kids get or our children get to have. And if the parents and the coaches got that understanding,
Yep.
then that's the relationship.
Yep.
That's the
Yep.
relationship. The relationship is we understand this experience
Mhm.
is
It's bigger than
equipped,
football.
right? It's equipped to use football as a vehicle to implement some tools that they wouldn't otherwise have access to
Absolutely.
um till later on in the world.
Absolutely.
So that's the I like to add that to what you
Yeah,
said, but
absolutely. Great
that's
points,
that's
bro.
really that's really the relationship.
That's the
Is
cherry
that
on
is
top.
that is that understanding.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, the last question is
Okay.
when should kids start going to camps for exposure and opportunities to compete in the form for college or the form of college?
I would say no later. This is just my opinion. I would say no later than the summer of your freshman year. This is why I
Mhm.
say that. So from my coaching background, if you're Lynn Bolden, if you're James Daniels, you kind of just go into the camp. You may have to work out at one camp for an offer, but they kind of already know who you are from your film. They kind of
Mhm.
already know how special you are. But for kind of everybody else, I like to say summer of freshman year, and this is why I say that. Because normally, if you got to go to camp to earn that offer, it's normally going to be the summer of your junior year,
Mhm.
right? So now, if I go to my first camp the summer of my freshman year, I got 2 years to soak up everything. Because what you don't want to happen is, case in point, Linnell Lewis, one of my players, big time player. He a
Okay, you know
junior,
all
about to be a senior. You know what I
that.
mean?
Yeah.
He about to go to these camps this summer of his junior year, but he ain't never been in the stadium. He ain't never
Hmm.
walked around a college facility. He ain't never did a college tour. It's his first time around Coach Day, Coach Hardball, Coach Franklin. So he's kind of shell shocked.
Hmm.
So now it becomes the spectacle of everything else instead of it being a business trip. Flip it. If I take you as a young freshman in that summer, yeah, I mean, unless you a Brayton Feaster or DeAndre, like the kid from Fish, they may have a chance to go to a camp and get an offer, but it's not about going to get the offer when you're a freshman.
Hmm.
It's just about going, okay, let's see what type of drills they do. Let's see what type of atmosphere it is. Dang, this what the stadium look like. This big. You kind of get all of that out of your body and out of your system.
Yeah.
So now 2 years later, when it's a business trip,
Hmm.
when we need to go get this money, we need to go get this offer, all that stuff blocked out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So to answer that question, again, this is my opinion. Don't mean
Hmm.
I'm right, but I'd like to say summer of freshman year.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's hard to be what you never see, right?
Exactly.
So, getting them around, getting kids exposed, like you said,
Yep.
exposed to those big stadiums,
Mhm.
exposed to the shiny
Yep.
things. Like once the kids can be around it, they can see it, then they can envision their self in it in a type of way. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? The distractors of it
Absolutely.
kind of the volume of the
Yeah.
distractors kind of get turned
Yeah.
down a little bit.
Absolutely.
I used to tell my daughter when she ran track, and it'd be like district this and
Right.
semifinals this.
Right.
At the end of the day, you know, you running against the clock,
Mhm.
right? It's the same meters. The
Yep.
meters don't change. It's just more production around it.
That's it.
It's more
It's more
production
of a
around it.
spectacle.
It's more of
Yep.
a spectacle.
Yep.
And so there's levels of people who perform with all those distractors. Some people they
Yep.
feed off of it. Some people, but ultimately, you have to the more you expose to it, the less of a distraction it becomes.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
like you said,
Mhm.
now that you know you can see Beyonce as a regular woman, you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
And I like the term you use because they're young.
Hmm.
So you take them young, they're gonna focus on the shiny stuff.
Hmm.
What the stadium look like. They want to put the unis on and take pictures. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Photoshop, photo shoot, all that type of stuff. But then you take them out to the camp, they don't forget what they're really here for. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Now they wondering why in 2 days, coach said I'm gonna call your head coach in 2 days. You wondering why coach ain't tapped back in.
Right,
But then you
right.
see those kids that kind of been going, and I'm not saying a lot of camps when they're for young and freshmen. Take them to one or two. Just take
Hmm.
them somewhere to fill it. But now them kids who locked in, now they coming back as a junior, they locked in. The mother kids getting here, they walking around, they looking around. That kid got his headphones in, he down there stretching. You know what I mean? Getting his
Hmm.
ladder work, getting his feet together. He know it's a business trip. So
Hmm.
again, I would say to answer the question, I would say I like to think at the earliest summer of my freshman year.
Okay.
Here we go, baby. Shout outs, baby. Shout outs, L. Who you got, baby? Who you shouting out this week,
Man, I
big
just
dog?
want to shout out the team once again, man. Between the lines team, man. I want
Know
to
it.
shout out the Warren G. Hardings, man. I want to shout out to them. They doing their thing.
Know
Shout
it.
out the coaching staff, the players. Shout out the coaching staff of Massillon. Like I said, we'll be in the building. That's our Buena Vista game of the
Yes,
week. Shout out to
sir.
our sponsors, the Ellie House,
Yep.
Buena Vista Cafe. Shout out to everybody, man. You watching at home? Shout out to you.
Facts. Facts. I'm gonna start right there. If you watching at home, if you've been tuning in, been a lot of people coming up to me saying they watch the show on the regular. We doing a good job. So shout out to you. We appreciate it. This ain't easy. We ain't got a lot of money behind us. Again,
Nah.
shout out to L for presenting us this opportunity with your media company. So that I want to start right there. Shout out to the people that have been giving us love and support.
Yeah, man. Love is love, love.
That's right. Love is love. Love is God. Second, shout out to my babies at home. But I got two groups of shout outs. My first group of shout outs is all teams in Northeast Ohio that have already clinched the playoff berth. That's hard to do. You know what I mean? Even though they expanded the field to 16 teams, it's
Mhm.
still hard to do. You know what I mean? So shout out to all the teams that's already clinched. That's hard to do. I know that's pretty much a goal for all teams in the state of Ohio to make the playoffs.
Right.
So shout out to all the teams that's clinched so far. My second list of shout outs, I'm gonna say a lot of names. These are all the kids I coach that's in college still balling or in the professional ranks. I just want to
Mm-hmm.
show them some love, give them some shout outs, let them
Well, run
know
it down
let them
then.
know I love them and I'm proud of them. So that's Connor Durick, Brandon Nall, Ron Adams,
Two.
Troy Jacobic, Isaac Hadley, Jesse Likens, Cam Hollabaugh, Jalen Turner, Giovanni Washington, Dre Rushton, Lynn Bolden Jr.,
Ancho.
Yale DeFroholt, Myron Cunningham, and James Daniels. I'm sorry I'm getting old. If I forgot any of my babies, y'all know it's all love. Y'all know I ain't forget y'all on purpose. But I just wanted to give them dudes some love, let them know I love them. And more than that, let them know I'm proud of them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
Regardless of
man.
what they doing on the field, they all know I love them as people. And whether it's you in college playing, if you playing in college, that means you handling your academics. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's huge. If you playing in college, that means you doing what you're supposed to do as far as getting to the facility on time, listening to your coaches, diving in your playbook, watching film. So all that means you're being a great young man. You know what I mean? As far as what your parents instilled in you, your community instilled in you. So shout out to them boys, man. Keep doing y'all thing. Coach Stella, love y'all. I'm proud of y'all, baby. Keep going. Regardless of how far y'all go, I love y'all, baby. Y'all got Northeast Ohio on y'all back. Keep going, baby. Hey, L. That's it, baby. It's
Another
fun
one in
being
the
here with you.
books.
Another one in the books.
Paul
Shout out to
Brown,
our
Tiger
boy
Stadium
Slim
tomorrow
Thugger
night.
over
Slim on the
there on the ones
boards.
and twos doing this thing.
Man,
And
it's
again, shout out to everybody that's been supporting us, man. We're going to be in the house tomorrow, Maslin. Warren Harding at Maslin Tigers, our Buena Vista
Chill.
Cafe game of the week. We out. L. Love you, baby.
Man, love
It was
you.
fun. Warren,
Always.
Ohio. Love you, baby.
We
We
right
out.
back like we left something.